Introduction to the ParaPro Assessment Test. The ParaPro Assessment Test is a standardized exam designed to assess the knowledge and skills of prospective paraprofessionals in education. The test measures proficiency in areas such as reading, writing, and mathematics, and it is a requirement for individuals seeking to work as paraprofessionals in U.S. public schools. This course provides an in-depth overview of the ParaPro Assessment Test, its purpose, and the exam format to help learners prepare effectively. What is the ParaPro Assessment Test? The ParaPro Assessment is a tool used to evaluate the knowledge and skills of individuals seeking to work as paraprofessionals, also known as teacher aides, in U.S. public schools. This test assesses a candidate's proficiency in three main areas. 1. Reading, ability to understand and analyze written materials. 2. Writing, ability to communicate effectively through writing. 3. Mathematics, basic math knowledge and problem-solving skills. The test is designed to measure the fundamental academic skills necessary for working in classrooms alongside licensed teachers. It helps ensure that paraprofessionals have the foundational knowledge needed to assist teachers and contribute positively to student learning environments. The purpose and importance of the test. The ParaPro assessment serves several key purposes. 1. Hiring and certification. Many school districts and educational institutions require paraprofessionals to pass the ParaPro assessment as part of the hiring or certification process. 2. Standardized measurement. The test provides a standardized measure of a paraprofessional's academic abilities, ensuring consistency across different candidates and districts. 3. Ensuring quality education. By ensuring that paraprofessionals have a solid grasp of reading, writing, and math, the test helps ensure that students receive the support they need in the classroom. The test also provides an opportunity for career advancement, as passing the assessment is a step toward becoming a certified paraprofessional in the educational field. Understanding the format of the exam, multiple choice questions. The ParaPro assessment consists of 90 multiple-choice questions, which are divided into three key content areas. 1. Reading, 30 questions. This section evaluates your ability to understand and analyze written texts. It tests skills such as identifying main ideas, drawing conclusions, and understanding vocabulary in context. 2. Writing, 30 questions. This section assesses your ability to recognize correct grammar and punctuation, improve sentence structure, and choose appropriate words in different writing contexts. 3. Mathematics, 30 questions. This section tests basic math knowledge, including arithmetic, algebra, and geometry. It focuses on the ability to perform operations, solve problems, and interpret mathematical information. Each question will present a scenario followed by several answer options. You will need to choose the best response based on your understanding of the material. Here is a brief breakdown of the test format. Number of questions, 90. Question type, multiple choice, each with 4 possible answers. Time limit is 2.5 hours, 150 minutes. Scoring. Each question is worth 1 point, and the total score is determined by the number of correct answers. Key features of the exam. 1. No negative scoring. There is no penalty for incorrect answers, so it is beneficial to answer every question, even if you are unsure. 2. Computer-based. The test is administered on a computer, which provides immediate feedback on your answers once you complete the test. 3. Language and accessibility. The test is available in English, and accommodations can be made for individuals with disabilities as needed. Example, extended time, a separate testing room. After completing this lesson, you will have a solid understanding of the ParaPro assessment tests. Purpose, format, and content areas. To help you prepare for the exam, the next lesson will delve deeper into the content areas covered in the test. Reading, writing, and mathematics. We will explore sample questions, strategies for answering them, and tips for efficient test taking. ParaPro Assessment Test, Test Structure and Content Areas. The ParaPro Assessment Test is a key step in becoming a certified paraprofessional in many U.S. public schools. This course focuses on the content, test structure, and the content areas covered in the exam. By understanding how the test is organized and what each section assesses, you'll be better prepared to tackle the exam confidently. We will break down each of the content areas: language arts, reading and writing, mathematics, and general knowledge, and provide strategies to improve your performance in each area. Test Structure Overview. The ParaPro Assessment Test consists of 90 multiple-choice questions, which must be completed in 90 minutes. Each section focuses on specific content areas, with questions designed to assess your ability to perform tasks commonly required in a paraprofessional role. The structure is as follows: language arts, reading and writing, with 30 questions; mathematics, with 30 questions; general knowledge, with 30 questions. Each content area evaluates your understanding of key academic concepts and your ability to apply them in an educational setting. The test is designed to be straightforward, with clear multiple-choice questions, but the time limit can make pacing a challenge. Language arts, reading and writing, with 30 questions. The language arts section evaluates your ability to understand and apply fundamental reading and writing skills. This includes comprehension, grammar, syntax, and language mechanics. Key areas tested. 1. Reading comprehension. You will be asked to read short passages and answer questions about the main idea, supporting details and inferences. Focus on the ability to identify key concepts, understand the author's tone and purpose, and interpret information from the text. 2. Vocabulary and word usage. Identify the meaning of words in context and understand word relationships, such as synonyms, antonyms, and word roots. Evaluate word choice and its impact on the meaning of a sentence or paragraph. 3. Grammar and syntax. Questions will test your ability to recognize proper grammar usage, sentence structure, punctuation, and spelling. You may be asked to identify errors in sentences or to choose the correct word or phrase that fits grammatically. Sample question for reading comprehension. Read the following passage and answer the question that follows. The students eagerly awaited the announcement. Their hearts raced as the teacher began to speak. What is the main emotion conveyed in the passage? A. Excitement. B. Anxiety. C. Fear. D. Confusion. The correct answer is A. Excitement. Strategies for success. First, focus on reading the passage thoroughly before answering the questions. Second, pay attention to details that support the main idea. And third, practice identifying the context of unfamiliar words. Mathematics 30 questions. The mathematics section tests your ability to solve basic mathematical problems, including arithmetic, algebra, and geometry. It is designed to assess your competence in applying mathematical concepts and operations in real-life educational settings. Key areas tested. 1. Arithmetic. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of whole numbers, decimals, and fractions. Word problems that involve basic operations and require logical reasoning. 2. Algebra. Understanding and solving equations, interpreting expressions, and working with variables. 3. Geometry. Basic concepts of shapes, area, perimeter, and volume. Identifying properties of angles and geometric figures. 4. Data interpretation. Interpreting graphs, tables, and data sets. Ability to calculate averages, percentages, and ratios. Sample question for algebra. Solve for x. 2x plus 5 equals 15. A. 5. B. 10. C. 15. D. 25. The correct answer is B. 10. Strategies for success. First, review basic math operations, focusing on fractions, decimals, and percentages. Second, practice solving word problems by first identifying key information and operations needed. Third, familiarize yourself with common formulas for area, volume, and perimeter. General knowledge. 30 questions. The General Knowledge section assesses your knowledge of various topics that are essential for supporting students in a classroom setting. It includes questions on topics like general education principles, critical thinking, and practical classroom skills. Key areas tested. 1. Educational principles, understanding basic teaching methods, classroom management strategies, and student behavior. 2. Classroom practices, knowledge of learning strategies, such as differentiated instruction, and how to assist students with special needs. 3. Critical thinking and problem solving, ability to analyze problems, think critically, and make decisions based on available information. 4. General knowledge. This includes questions about general science, social studies, and health topics that might be relevant to classroom settings. Sample question for educational principles. Which of the following is a key strategy for fostering student engagement in the classroom? A. Providing clear and consistent instructions. B. Giving students as much freedom as possible without limits. C. Ignoring student feedback. D. Focusing only on lecture-style teaching. The correct answer is A. Providing clear and consistent instructions. Strategies for success. First, focus on understanding general teaching and classroom management strategies. Second, brush up on basic knowledge of educational tools and strategies used in the classroom. Third, practice applying critical thinking skills to real-world educational scenarios. Sample breakdown of the 90-minute test. The ParaPro assessment test is a timed exam that you must complete in 90 minutes. Proper time management is key to completing the test successfully. Time allocation by section. 1. Language arts. 30 questions, approximately 30 minutes. 2. Mathematics. 30 questions, approximately 30 minutes. 3. General knowledge. 30 questions, approximately 30 minutes. Test-taking strategies. 1. Pacing. Try to answer each question in about 1 minute. If you are unsure about a question, mark it and move on, returning to it later. 2. First pass. Answer the questions you feel confident about first. Use the remaining time to revisit the harder questions. 3. Elimination. For multiple-choice questions, eliminate obviously incorrect answers first to increase your chances of selecting the correct answer. Conclusion and recap. Understanding the test structure and content areas is critical for success on the ParaPro assessment test. This lesson covered the breakdown of the test, including reading, writing, mathematics, and general knowledge areas, as well as provided strategies for tackling each section. Proper time management, practice, and familiarity with the test content will help you maximize your performance. Understanding scoring. Understanding how the ParaPro assessment test is scored is essential for test takers to gauge their performance and determine whether they have met the passing requirements. This lesson will walk you through the test scoring process, explain what constitutes a passing score, and help you interpret your score report. In addition, we will discuss what steps to take if you do not pass the test on your first attempt. How the test is scored. The ParaPro assessment test is a multiple-choice exam that contains 90 questions distributed across 3 key content areas: language arts, reading and writing, mathematics, and general knowledge. About scoring process. 1. Raw score. Each correct answer is awarded 1 point. The raw score is the total number of correct answers on the test. The maximum raw score is 90 for answering all questions correctly. 2. Scaled score. Your raw score is then converted into a scaled score. Scaled scores account for slight differences in difficulty between different versions of the test. The conversion process helps standardize results across test forms, ensuring that scores are comparable. Calculation of scaled scores. A raw score is mapped to a scaled score through a statistical process known as equating. For example, if a candidate answers 70 out of 90 questions correctly, this will be mapped to a scaled score that reflects the difficulty level of the test version taken. Formula for scoring. Correct answer equals 1 point. Incorrect answer equals 0 points. The final score is based on the raw score converted to a scaled score using statistical methods. What is considered a passing score? Passing score. A passing score is typically 460 or higher out of a possible 600 scaled points. This means that while the raw score is out of 90, the scaled score is what is used to determine whether you have passed or failed the exam. State-specific requirements. While 460 is generally the minimum passing score, some states, school districts, or institutions may set higher requirements. It is important to confirm with the test administrator or your prospective employer if they have specific passing score requirements. Interpreting scores. If your score falls below the passing threshold, do not be discouraged. Many test takers improve their scores upon retesting with additional preparation. The score report will give you feedback on how you performed in each content area, which can guide your study focus. How to review your score report. After completing the ParaPro assessment test, you will receive a score report that provides valuable information about your performance. Understanding your score report is essential for interpreting the results and planning any further steps in your preparation. Key components of the score report. 1. Overall scaled score. The overall scaled score represents your performance on the entire exam. A score of 460 or higher is required to pass. This score reflects your general knowledge across all sections of the test. 2. Raw score. This is the number of correct answers you gave on each section of the test. For example, you may receive a raw score of 70 out of 90 for language arts, 75 out of 90 for mathematics, and 80 out of 90 for general knowledge. 3. Content area breakdown. The score report will show how you performed in each of the 3 content areas: language arts, mathematics, and general knowledge. This breakdown will help you understand areas where you may need improvement. Sample score report breakdown. Overall scaled score, 475. Pass. Language arts. Raw score, 72 out of 90s. Scaled score, 480. Mathematics. Raw score, 68 out of 90. Scaled score, 460. General knowledge. Raw score, 80 out of 90. Scaled score, 490. The general knowledge section shows the highest performance, while the mathematics section may indicate areas for further study. This breakdown allows test takers to focus their preparation on the areas with the most room for improvement. What to do if you do not pass. If your scaled score is below the passing threshold, it's important to stay motivated and use your score report as a tool for future preparation. Here are some steps to help you prepare for a retake. Steps to take after not passing. 1. Review your score report. Look at the breakdown of your performance in each content area. Identify which areas you scored lower in and focus your study efforts on those specific areas. 2. Study and practice. Use study materials that focus on the content areas where you scored the lowest. Take practice tests to improve your time management and test-taking skills. 3. Retesting policy. You can retake the test if needed, but you will need to check the retesting policy. Some test takers must wait a certain period before they are eligible to retake the exam. 4. Test preparation resources. Consider joining study groups or attending review courses to strengthen your knowledge. Final tips for test preparation and success. First, time management. The test is 90 minutes long, and with 90 questions, You will have about 1 minute per question. Keep track of time during the exam to avoid rushing at the end. Second, practice. Use official ParaPro preparation materials, including practice tests, to familiarize yourself with the types of questions and test format. Third, relax. Take care of your physical and mental health leading up to the test. Get adequate sleep, stay hydrated, and approach the exam with a calm and focused mindset. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've discussed how the ParaPro assessment test is scored, what constitutes a passing score, and how to interpret your score report. Understanding your score report and reviewing areas of weakness can help guide your preparation for future test attempts. Stay positive, use your score report for targeted study, and utilize available resources to improve your skills. Mastering Language Arts, Reading Comprehension. The Language Arts section of the ParaPro assessment test includes critical skills such as reading comprehension and writing. For reading comprehension, it is essential to understand how to read passages efficiently, extract key information, and answer questions accurately. This course will help you master these skills by breaking down the core elements of reading comprehension and providing strategies to approach questions confidently. Types of passages. In the Reading Comprehension section of the ParaPro assessment, you will encounter various types of passages. Understanding the different passage formats will help you approach each one effectively. Below are the main types of passages you will likely encounter. 1. Narrative passages. These passages tell a story or describe an event. They often include characters, a setting, and a plot. The purpose is to engage the reader emotionally or intellectually by presenting a story or experience. Example: a short story, a personal account, or an event narrative. 2. Expository passages. These passages are written to inform or explain something. They may provide facts, statistics, or detailed explanations about a specific topic. Example: an article on climate change, a description of historical events, or how-to guides. 3. Descriptive passages. These passages provide vivid descriptions of people, places, or things, focusing on sensory details to create a picture in the reader's mind. Example: descriptions of a city's landmarks, a character's physical appearance, or a landscape. 4. Argumentative or persuasive passages. These passages are written to convince the reader of a particular point of view. They include reasoning, evidence, and sometimes counter-arguments. Example: an editorial in a newspaper or a debate about a social issue. Each type of passage has its own unique features and requires different strategies for comprehension. Identifying the type of passage will help you determine how to approach reading it. Identifying main ideas, themes, and supporting details. Understanding how to identify the main idea, themes, and supporting details is crucial for answering comprehension questions accurately. Main idea, the central point or primary concept of the passage. It is the most important thing the author wants to communicate. How to identify. The main idea is usually stated in the first paragraph and restated or reinforced in the concluding paragraph. Sometimes it is directly stated as a thesis or central argument. Themes, the underlying message or idea in the passage. While the main idea is specific, the theme is more general and abstract. How to identify. Look for recurring ideas or concepts that appear throughout the passage. Themes often explore universal truths or lessons, such as love, loss, or justice. Supporting details. These are the facts, examples, statistics, or explanations that help clarify or prove the main idea or theme. How to identify. Supporting details are often found in the body paragraphs and serve to elaborate or provide evidence for the main idea. Look for facts, quotes, or specific examples. Example passage. The city's downtown area has undergone dramatic changes in the past decade. Originally a rundown area with empty storefronts, it is now a thriving hub of activity. New restaurants, stores, and entertainment venues have sprung up, drawing in tourists and locals alike. The revitalization has provided jobs for many residents and given the city a much-needed economic boost. Main idea: the downtown area has undergone dramatic changes and revitalization. Theme: economic growth and community improvement. Supporting details: new restaurants, stores, entertainment venues, and job creation. By identifying the main idea, themes, and supporting details, you can better understand the passage and answer questions accurately. Techniques for answering reading comprehension questions. Now that you understand the different passage types and how to identify key elements, let's explore techniques to help you answer reading comprehension questions effectively. Step 1. Read the passage carefully. Take your time to read the passage at a steady pace. If necessary, read it more than once. Focus on understanding the main idea, the key points, and the overall tone of the passage. Step 2. Analyze the question. Identify what the question is asking. Is it asking for the main idea, a specific detail, or an inference? Look for keywords in the question that are directly related to the passage. Step 3. Eliminate incorrect answers. Often, reading comprehension questions include distractors, incorrect answer choices. Eliminate answers that are clearly wrong. Example: if the question asks about the main idea of the passage, eliminate answers that focus on a minor detail or fact not central to the passage. Step 4. Return to the passage. When you're unsure of the answer, go back to the passage and reread the relevant section. This will help you verify or narrow down your options. Step 5. Make inferences. Some questions will require you to infer or conclude based on information not directly stated in the passage. Use clues from the text to make logical assumptions. Example: if the passage discusses a character's actions without explicitly stating their feelings, you may need to infer their emotional state based on their behavior. Step 6. Stay objective. Be mindful of your personal opinions or assumptions. Base your answers strictly on what is stated or implied in the passage, not on external knowledge or beliefs. Practice question and answer explanation. Here's a sample question based on a reading passage. The rise in global temperatures has led to unpredictable weather patterns. In some regions, this means hotter summers, while in others, colder winters. Farmers are particularly affected as they struggle to predict the right time for planting crops, leading to reduced harvests. Question: what is the main effect of rising global temperatures as mentioned in the passage? A. Farmers are planting crops at different times. B. Weather patterns have become more predictable. C. Summer and winter temperatures are unaffected. D. Farmers are benefiting from the new weather patterns. The correct answer is A. Farmers are planting crops at different times. The passage explains that rising global temperatures have led to unpredictable weather patterns, causing difficulty for farmers in predicting planting times, which affects their harvests. Therefore, answer A is correct, while the other options are either unsupported by the passage or inaccurate. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've covered essential skills for reading comprehension on the ParaPro assessment test, including understanding types of passages, identifying main ideas, themes, and supporting details, and using strategies for answering reading comprehension questions. Practice these techniques to improve your skills and increase your confidence for the test. Vocabulary and context clues. The ParaPro assessment test evaluates several key areas of language arts, including vocabulary, reading comprehension, and writing skills. Strong vocabulary skills are crucial for success on the test, as they help with understanding passages and answering questions accurately. This lesson focuses on building vocabulary and using context clues to determine the meanings of unfamiliar words in reading passages. Mastering these skills will enhance your ability to answer vocabulary-based questions and improve overall reading comprehension on the exam. Building vocabulary for success. Building a robust vocabulary is essential for understanding reading passages and answering questions on the ParaPro assessment test. A larger vocabulary enables you to grasp more complex ideas and perform better in language-based sections. Techniques for expanding vocabulary. 1. Read regularly. The more you read, the more words you'll encounter. Choose a variety of materials, including books, articles, and academic texts. 2. Use a dictionary and thesaurus. Regularly look up words you don't understand and make use of synonyms and antonyms. 3. Flashcards. Create flashcards with new words and their meanings. Review them regularly to reinforce learning. 4. Learn word roots, prefixes, and suffixes. Understanding the meaning of common roots and affixes helps you decode unfamiliar words. Example: the root bene means good, like benefit, benevolent, beneficiary. 5. Contextual learning. Pay attention to how words are used in sentences. This reinforces their meaning in different contexts. 6. Practice. Use new vocabulary in your own writing and conversation to help retain it. Practice tip. Keep a vocabulary journal where you record new words and use them in sentences to improve retention. Understanding and using context clues. Context clues are hints or pieces of information within a sentence or passage that help you figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words. These clues can be found in the surrounding text and are especially helpful during reading comprehension exercises. Types of context clues. 1. Definition clue. The word's meaning is directly explained in the sentence or passage. Example: the melancholy mood of the room was evident as the team sat quietly, reflecting on their loss. Context clue. The phrase mood of the room and reflecting on their loss suggest sadness, defining melancholy as sadness or sorrow. 2. Synonym clue. A word with a similar meaning is used in the sentence or nearby sentences. Example: the benevolent teacher donated a large portion of her salary to charity. Context clue. The phrase donated a large portion suggests kindness, and the word benevolent refers to a kind or charitable nature. 3. Antonym clue. The meaning of the word is suggested by the contrast between it and another word in the sentence. Example: the abundant harvest was a stark contrast to the previous year's scarcity. Context clue. The contrast between abundant, plentiful, and scarcity, lack, suggests that abundant means plentiful. 4. Example clue. The unfamiliar word is clarified by examples provided in the sentence. Example: he had a variety of hobbies such as painting, photography, and sculpture. Context clue. The example suggests that painting, photography, and sculpture are all forms of artistic expression, defining the word hobbies as activities people enjoy. 5. Inference clue. The meaning of the word is not directly stated, but can be inferred from the overall meaning of the sentence or paragraph. Example: she looked at the broken vase with a frown, her hands trembling as she picked up the pieces. Context clue. The negative reaction to the broken vase and the use of frown suggests that the word frown likely means an expression of displeasure or sadness. How to use context clues. Step 1. Read the sentence or paragraph carefully. Step 2. Look for hints in the surrounding text, synonyms, antonyms, examples, or definitions. Step 3. Try to guess the meaning of the unfamiliar word based on these clues. Step 4. Reread the sentence with your inferred meaning in mind to see if it makes sense. Practice tip. While reading, highlight or underline unfamiliar words and try to deduce their meanings using context clues before looking them up. Test-taking strategies. 1. Preview the passage. Before reading the full passage, glance at the questions to see which words or concepts you need to focus on. 2. Context clue strategy. If a word is unfamiliar, look for other words or phrases in the sentence that may help define it. 3. Eliminate incorrect answers. In multiple-choice questions, use your understanding of the context to eliminate obviously incorrect answers. 4. Don't rush. Take your time to carefully read each passage in question. If you're unsure of a word, use the context clues to infer its meaning before making a final decision. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've covered important strategies for building vocabulary and using context clues to understand unfamiliar words in reading passages. These skills will help you excel on the ParaPro assessment test, particularly in the language arts section. Remember to practice regularly, build your vocabulary, and use context clues to confidently answer reading comprehension questions. Writing skills. The writing skills section of the ParaPro assessment test evaluates your ability to produce clear, effective, and grammatically correct writing. Whether you're writing simple sentences, identifying errors, or making improvements to a passage, solid writing skills are essential for success on the test. This lesson focuses on key aspects of writing, including sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, error identification, clarity, coherence, and tone. By mastering these skills, you'll improve your performance on the ParaPro assessment test and enhance your ability to communicate effectively in an educational environment. Sentence structure, grammar, and punctuation. Effective writing begins with a strong understanding of sentence structure, grammar, and punctuation. These elements are essential for creating clear and grammatically correct writing. Sentence structure. 1. Simple sentences. A simple sentence contains a subject and a predicate. It expresses a complete thought. Example: the teacher smiled. 2. Compound sentences. A compound sentence connects two independent clauses using coordinating conjunctions like and, but, or, etc. Example: the teacher smiled, and the students applauded. 3. Complex sentences. A complex sentence contains an independent clause and a dependent clause, connected by subordinating conjunctions such as because, although, or when. Example: the teacher smiled because the students finished their work on time. 4. Sentence fragments. A fragment is an incomplete sentence. It may be missing a subject, predicate, or both. Example of fragment: running down the hallway, missing a subject to complete the thought. Grammar. 1. Subject-verb agreement. Ensure that the subject and verb in a sentence agree in number, singular or plural. Correct: she runs every morning. Incorrect: she run every morning. 2. Pronouns. Pronouns should agree with the nouns they replace in gender and number. Example: the students took their books. Punctuation. 1. Commas. Commas are used to separate items in a list, after introductory phrases, and to separate independent clauses joined by conjunctions. Example: I bought apples, bananas, and grapes. 2. Periods. Periods are used to end declarative sentences. Example: the teacher is helpful. 3. Apostrophes. Apostrophes show possession or indicate contractions. Example: that is Tim's book, possession. It's raining outside. Contraction for it is. Identifying errors in writing. Identifying and correcting errors is a critical skill for the ParaPro assessment test. You'll encounter sentences with grammatical, punctuation, or structural mistakes. Here's how to approach identifying and correcting common errors. Common types of errors. 1. Subject-verb agreement errors. Incorrect: the students is ready to learn. Corrected: the students are ready to learn. 2. Run-on sentences. Incorrect: the teacher spoke to the class, they listened carefully. Corrected: the teacher spoke to the class, and they listened carefully. 3. Incorrect punctuation. Incorrect: I went to the store, I bought apples. Corrected: I went to the store and I bought apples. 4. Misplaced modifiers. Incorrect: she almost drove her car to work every day. Corrected: she drove her car to work almost every day. Strategies for error correction. 1. Read the sentence aloud to catch awkward phrasing or missing words. 2. Look for subject-verb agreement, punctuation, and sentence boundaries, fragments, or run-ons. 3. Check the logic. Does the sentence make sense? Is the modifier placed next to the word it modifies? Writing clarity, coherence, and tone. Writing clarity, coherence, and tone are critical for conveying your ideas effectively and appropriately, especially in a classroom setting. Here's how to improve each. Clarity. 1. Be concise. Avoid unnecessary words or overly complex sentence structures. Before. In the event that the teacher is unable to arrive, the class will continue under the supervision of the substitute teacher. After. If the teacher cannot arrive, the class will continue with the substitute. 2. Be direct. Get to the point without vagueness. Before. The student appeared to be somewhat tired, possibly due to lack of sleep. After. The student seemed tired from lack of sleep. Coherence. 1. Logical flow. Ensure that sentences and paragraphs are connected logically. 2. Transition words. Use words like first, next, therefore, and for example to guide the reader through your argument. Example. First, we will discuss the assignment guidelines. Next, we will review the grading rubric. 3. Consistent focus. Keep the topic consistent throughout the paragraph or essay. Example. If you are writing about a specific concept, such as classroom management, don't veer off topic with unrelated discussions. Tone. 1. Professional tone. In academic writing, maintain a respectful and neutral tone. Avoid slang, overly casual language, or overly emotional language. Example of professional tone. The student was able to complete the assignment on time. Example of informal tone. The student got the assignment done just in time. 2. Adjusting for audience. Tailor your tone based on the purpose and audience of the writing. Formal for academic writing, informal for personal reflection. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we covered essential writing skills for the ParaPro assessment test, focusing on sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, clarity, coherence, and tone. We also practiced identifying and correcting errors and refining writing to ensure clarity and professionalism. Mastering these skills will improve your performance in the writing section of the test. Mastering mathematics. Basic math concepts. The mathematics section of the ParaPro assessment test tests your ability to perform basic arithmetic, work with fractions, decimals, percentages, ratios, and proportions, and apply these concepts to solve problems. Mastering these core areas is essential for success in the math section of the test. This course will break down key mathematical concepts, offer practical examples, and provide exercises to help you prepare effectively for the test. Arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Arithmetic operations are the foundation of all mathematical problem solving. Here's a breakdown of the 4 fundamental operations. 1. Addition. Concept. Adding 2 or more numbers together to find the total. Example. 47 plus 28 equals 75. Application. Adding up the cost of items in a shopping cart, calculating total scores in a game. 2. Subtraction. Concept. Finding the difference between 2 numbers by subtracting one from the other. Example. 65 minus 29 equals 36. Application. Calculating the remaining balance in an account, finding the difference in time. 3. Multiplication. Concept. Repeated addition of the same number. Example. 7 times 6 equals 42. Application. Calculating total price for multiple items, scaling quantities in recipes. 4. Division. Concept. Splitting a number into equal parts. Example. 56 divided by 7 equals 8. Application. Distributing items equally, finding average values. Fractions, decimals, and percentages. Fractions, decimals, and percentages are different ways of expressing parts of a whole. Understanding how to convert between these forms is essential for solving problems involving proportional relationships. Fractions. A fraction represents a part of a whole. A fraction is indeed written as a over b, where a is the numerator and b is the denominator. Example: 3/4 represents 3 out of 4 equal parts. Decimals. A decimal is another way to represent a fraction based on powers of 10. For example, 0.75 is equivalent to 3/4. Percentages. A percentage represents a part out of 100. Example: 75% means 75 out of 100. Conversions, fraction to decimal. Divide the numerator by the denominator. Example: 3/4 equals 3 divide 4 equals 0.75. Decimal to fraction. Convert by placing the decimal over a power of 10 and simplifying. Example: 0.75 equals 75 hundredths equals 3/4. Decimal to percentage. Multiply the decimal by 100. Example: 0.75 times 100 equals 75%. Fraction to percentage. Convert the fraction to a decimal and then multiply by 100. Example: 3/4 equals 0.75 times 100 equals 75%. Ratios and proportions. Ratios and proportions are used to compare quantities and understand relationships between them. Ratios. A ratio compares two quantities by dividing one by the other. Example: the ratio of apples to oranges is 3:5, which means for every 3 apples there are 5 oranges. Reading ratios. Ratios can be written as fractions or with a colon. Proportions. A proportion is an equation that states two ratios are equal. Example: if the ratio of boys to girls in a class is 3:4, then the proportion 3/4 equals 6/8 indicates that for every 6 boys, there are 8 girls. Cross multiplication. To solve proportions, you can use cross multiplication. Example: if 3/4 equals x over 12, cross multiply. 3 times 12 equals 4 times x. 36 equals 4x. 36/4 equals 4x over 4, 9 equals x. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we covered basic math concepts, including arithmetic operations, fractions, decimals, percentages, and ratios and proportions. These are foundational concepts that will help you tackle the mathematics section of the ParaPro assessment test. Remember, practice is key to building confidence and improving your test performance. Algebra and problem solving. The Algebra and problem solving section of the ParaPro assessment test evaluates your ability to understand and solve basic algebraic equations and apply problem-solving strategies to real-world situations. This lesson will focus on simple algebraic expressions and equations, as well as techniques for solving word problems. By mastering these skills, you will be better prepared to handle algebraic problems and apply logical problem-solving approaches during the test. Simple algebraic expressions and equations. Algebra is all about working with symbols and variables. Understanding how to manipulate algebraic expressions and solve equations is essential for success in this section of the test. Algebraic expressions. An algebraic expression is a combination of numbers, variables, and operators, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. The goal is to simplify or evaluate these expressions by performing operations. Example: 3x plus 5 is an algebraic expression. To simplify it, you would need to know the value of x. Simplifying algebraic expressions. Combine like terms. Example: 2x plus 3x equals 5x. Apply the distributive property. Example: 3x plus 4 equals 3x plus 12. Solving simple algebraic equations. An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal. Solving an equation means finding the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Steps to solve. Simplify both sides of the equation. Isolate the variable on one side of the equation. Solve for the variable by performing inverse operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Example: solve 3x plus 4 equals 19. Step 1. Subtract 4 from both sides. 3x equals 15. Step 2. Divide both sides by 3. X equals 5. Word problems and strategies for solving them. Word problems in the ParaPro assessment test are designed to assess your ability to translate real-world scenarios into mathematical equations and solve them. Word problems require logical thinking, reading comprehension, and the ability to work with different mathematical concepts. Step-by-step approach to word problems. 1. Read the problem carefully. Identify the key information in the problem. Pay attention to numbers, units of measurement, and what is being asked. 2. Identify what you need to find. Understand what the question is asking. Are you solving for a total, a difference, a ratio? 3. Translate the words into an equation. Look for keywords that indicate operations. For example, total often suggests addition. Difference suggests subtraction. Times suggests multiplication. Per suggests division. 4. Solve the equation. Use the appropriate algebraic techniques to solve the equation. 5. Check your work. Review the problem to ensure that your solution makes sense in the context of the question. Practice word problem strategies. Let's go over some additional examples to apply the skills we've learned in solving word problems. Example 1. Work problem. A worker is paid $12 per hour. How much will they earn in 30 hours of work? Step 1. Identify the rate of pay, $12 per hour, and the number of hours worked, 30 hours. Step 2. Set up the equation, earnings equals 12 times 30. Step 3. Solve the equation, earnings equals 360. Answer: the worker will earn $360. Example 2. Distance problem. A car travels 60 miles per hour. How long will it take to travel 180 miles? Step 1. Identify the rate of speed, 60 miles per hour, and the total distance, 180 miles. Step 2. Set up the equation. Time equals distance to rate. Time equals 180 to 60. Step 3. Solve the equation. Time equals 3 hours. Answer: the car will take 3 hours to travel 180 miles. Practice exercises. Let's now apply the techniques to solve a few more practice problems. Exercise 1. Simple algebraic expression. Solve for x. 7x plus 4 equals 25. A. X equals 3. B. X equals 4. C. X equals 5. D. X equals 6. The answer is A. X equals 3. Exercise 2. Word problem with fractions. A recipe calls for 2/3 cup of sugar, but you only have 1/3 cup. How much more sugar do you need? A. 1/3 cup. B. 2/3 cup. C. 1 cup. D. 1/2 cup. The answer is A. 1/3 cup. Explanation: you need 2/3 cup, but you have 1/3 cup, so you need to add another 1/3 cup. Exercise 3. Ratio problem. The ratio of boys to girls in a class is 2 to 5. If there are 12 boys, how many girls are there? A. 30. B. 35. C. 20. D. 15. The answer is 30. Explanation: the ratio is 2 to 5, so for every 2 boys, there are 5 girls. If there are 12 boys, the proportion is 2/5 equals 12 over x. Cross multiply. 2x equals 60, x equals 30 girls. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we covered key concepts in algebra and problem solving, focusing on simplifying algebraic expressions, solving equations, and applying strategies to tackle word problems. These skills are essential for the mathematics section of the ParaPro assessment test. Practice these techniques to increase your speed, accuracy, and confidence. Data interpretation and measurement. The mathematics section of the ParaPro assessment test includes questions on data interpretation and basic measurement concepts. Data interpretation involves understanding and analyzing information presented in charts, graphs, and tables, while measurement tests your ability to apply basic concepts of length, weight, and volume. Mastering these areas is essential for test success. This lesson will guide you through how to interpret different types of data and apply measurement concepts, ensuring that you are well prepared for these types of questions on the exam. Interpreting charts, graphs, and tables. Data is often presented in visual formats such as charts, graphs, and tables. Being able to interpret these visuals is key to answering many questions in the ParaPro assessment test. Let's explore how to read and understand each of these formats. Types of data visuals. 1. Bar graphs. Bar graphs use rectangular bars to represent data. The length or height of the bar corresponds to the value of the data. How to read. Look at the labels on both the x-axis, horizontal, and y-axis, vertical. The x-axis typically represents categories, while the y-axis shows numerical values. Example: a bar graph showing the number of students in each grade level. 2. Line graphs. Line graphs represent data over time, with points connected by lines. They show trends, such as increases or decreases. How to read. Look for the trend indicated by the slope of the line. Identify the x-axis, time, and the y-axis, data values. Example: a line graph showing the change in temperature over a week. 3. Pie charts. Pie charts show parts of a whole, with slices representing different categories. How to read. The size of each slice represents the proportion of the total. Percentages are usually displayed in the legend or next to each slice. Example: a pie chart showing the market share of different companies. 4. Tables. Tables organize data into rows and columns, making it easier to compare different sets of information. How to read. Pay attention to the column and row headers to understand what each number represents. Focus on finding the values for the specific data you need. Basic measurement concepts. Understanding basic measurement concepts is crucial for solving problems related to length, weight, and volume. These measurements are often used in real-life scenarios, and knowing how to calculate and apply them will help you succeed on the exam. Length, units of length. Common units of length include inches, feet, yards, and miles, U.S. customary units, or millimeters, centimeters, and meters, metric units. Conversions. 1 foot equals 12 inches, 1 yard equals 3 feet, 1 meter equals 100 centimeters, 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. Example: convert 3 yards to feet. 3 yards times 3 equals 9 feet. Weight. Common units of weight include pounds, ounces, and tons, U.S. customary, or grams and kilograms, metric. Conversions. 1 pound equals 16 ounces, 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. Units of volume. Common units of volume include cups, pints, quarts, and gallons, U.S. customary, or milliliters and liters, metric. Conversions. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, 1 quart equals 2 pints, 1 pint equals 2 cups, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Example: convert 3 quarts to cups. 3 quarts times 2 equals 6. Test-taking strategies. 1. Time management. For data interpretation and measurement questions, you may need to refer to charts, graphs, or tables. Read the questions first to focus on relevant information, then review the data. Spend no more than 1 minute on each question. 2. Careful with units. Always check the units you are working with in measurement questions. Convert to the required units if necessary before solving. 3. Work step by step. Break down the problem into smaller steps to avoid mistakes, especially in word problems or measurement conversions. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we covered essential skills for data interpretation and measurement. These topics are crucial for success on the mathematics section of the ParaPro assessment test. Mastering how to interpret visual data and apply basic measurement concepts will enhance your confidence and performance on the test. General Knowledge Overview. The ParaPro assessment test evaluates the skills and knowledge necessary for paraprofessionals to assist effectively in the classroom. The General Knowledge section of the test assesses your understanding of basic concepts related to education and instructional support. This lesson focuses on helping you identify the relevant general knowledge areas you need to review for the test and gain a deeper understanding of educational and instructional topics. Identifying relevant general knowledge for the test. The General Knowledge section of the ParaPro assessment test is designed to measure your understanding of basic academic concepts. The questions in this section assess your general knowledge in areas such as education principles, classroom practices, student support, and critical thinking. It is essential to review the following key areas to be well prepared. Key areas of general knowledge. 1. Basic educational principles. This includes understanding the role of a paraprofessional in supporting student learning, implementing classroom management strategies, and assisting with teaching tasks. Example concepts. Understanding the role of assessments in the classroom, differentiating instruction to meet diverse learning needs. 2. Classroom management. Understanding the importance of maintaining a productive and positive classroom environment is crucial for paraprofessionals. Example concepts: encouraging positive behavior, addressing behavioral challenges in a constructive manner. 3. Supporting special needs students. Paraprofessionals work closely with students who have a variety of learning needs. General knowledge of special education principles is helpful. Example concepts: understanding individualized education programs, IEPs, assisting students with disabilities. 4. Critical thinking and problem solving. The ability to analyze situations, think critically, and make informed decisions is important in any educational environment. Example concepts: using logic and reasoning to solve classroom issues. Making sound decisions based on data and observation. 5. Basic educational laws and ethics. Paraprofessionals should understand educational laws and ethical standards. Example concepts: knowledge of laws related to student rights, safety, and privacy, like IDEA, FERPA. 6. General knowledge of core subjects. Understanding basic concepts in subjects like mathematics, reading, science, and social studies is necessary, as paraprofessionals may assist students in these areas. Example concepts: basic math operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Key reading comprehension strategies. Quick tips. Review your educational textbooks, IEP documents, classroom management guides, and any foundational learning materials related to core subjects to refresh your knowledge for this section of the test. Understanding different educational and instructional topics. The ParaPro assessment test expects paraprofessionals to understand various educational and instructional topics, not just in theory, but also in practice. These topics will help paraprofessionals perform their roles effectively in the classroom. Core educational topics. 1. Teaching methods. Paraprofessionals may assist in implementing various teaching methods, including direct instruction, cooperative learning, and project-based learning. Example concepts: how to support a teacher during a lesson, assisting with group activities or one-on-one sessions. 2. Student engagement. Helping students stay engaged and motivated in the classroom is critical. Paraprofessionals need to understand strategies for keeping students focused. Example concepts: using praise and rewards to encourage participation, modifying lessons to maintain students' interest. 3. Educational psychology. Understanding the psychological principles behind student learning can help paraprofessionals work effectively with students. Example concepts: how children learn at different developmental stages, understanding various learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. 4. Assessment and evaluation. Paraprofessionals may help in administering tests, grading assignments, and providing feedback. Example concepts: understanding formative and summative assessments, giving constructive feedback to students. 5. Diverse learners. Paraprofessionals support diverse students, including those from different cultural backgrounds, learning abilities, and language proficiencies. Example concepts: strategies for English language learners, ELL. Cultural competency in education. General knowledge focus. In the general knowledge section of the ParaPro assessment test, you'll encounter questions related to these educational topics. Understanding how these principles work in a classroom environment and applying them in practice will help you answer related questions accurately. Test-taking strategies. Here are some key strategies to help you succeed in the general knowledge section of the ParaPro assessment test. 1. Read the question carefully. Pay close attention to the wording of each question. Look for keywords that indicate exactly what is being asked. 2. Eliminate obvious wrong answers. Many questions will include distractors, wrong answers that are clearly incorrect. Eliminating these can help you narrow down your options. 3. Manage your time. You have limited time for the test, so keep an eye on the clock. If a question is taking too long, move on and come back to it later if needed. 4. Stay calm and focused. It's important to stay calm and collected during the exam. If you don't know the answer right away, don't panic. Move through the test methodically. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we focused on identifying relevant general knowledge for the ParaPro assessment test and understanding different educational and instructional topics. We covered key concepts such as differentiated instruction, classroom management, and student engagement, which are essential for paraprofessionals. Mastering these topics will help you approach the general knowledge section of the test with confidence. Study tips for success. Preparing for the ParaPro assessment test requires effective study strategies and time management skills. This lesson will focus on creating a study plan, using active study methods to maximize retention, and developing time management strategies to optimize your test-taking performance. By the end of this lesson, you will have the tools and techniques needed to study efficiently and approach the exam with confidence. Creating a study schedule. A study schedule is an essential tool for staying organized and making the most out of your study time. Having a well-structured plan ensures that you cover all the necessary material without feeling overwhelmed. Steps to create a study schedule. 1. Set clear goals. Break down the material by subject areas, like math, reading comprehension, writing. Set specific, measurable goals for each study session, like review math operations for 45 minutes, or read and analyze 3 passages. 2. Assess available time. Determine how much time you have until the test date. Be realistic about how much time you can dedicate each day to studying. Factor in personal commitments and other responsibilities. 3. Divide study sessions. Short sessions. Plan for focused 30 to 60-minute study sessions with breaks in between. Daily or weekly sessions. Study for at least 1 to 2 hours each day leading up to the exam, or longer if possible. Prioritize weak areas. Allocate more study time to areas where you feel less confident, such as algebra or grammar. 4. Review and adjust. Regularly review your progress. If you find that certain topics need more time, adjust your schedule accordingly. Incorporate both active studying and passive review, like flashcards, practice tests. Here's the example schedule table. Active study methods. Active study methods help you engage with the material, improve retention, and enhance understanding. These methods promote active participation rather than passive reading or listening. Active study techniques. 1. Summarizing. After reading a section, summarize the material in your own words. This helps reinforce the information and ensures that you understand the key concepts. Example: after reading a passage, summarize the main ideas and themes in 3-5 sentences. 2. Self-quizzing. Test yourself on the material regularly. Use flashcards, practice tests, or write out questions based on the content. Example: write 5 multiple-choice questions for each topic and test yourself. Tip: focus on areas you find challenging and gradually increase the difficulty of the questions as you improve. 3. Spaced repetition. Review material periodically over increasing intervals. This technique enhances long-term retention and helps move information from short-term to long-term memory. Example: after studying a topic, review it the next day, then 3 days later, then a week later. 4. Teach the material. Explain the concepts to someone else, or even to yourself. Teaching forces you to process and understand the material more deeply. Example: teach a friend or family member a math concept or summarize a reading passage. Practice exercise. Create 5 flashcards with a key term on one side and its definition on the other. Review these daily and make sure to test yourself on both the term and its definition. Time management during the test. Time management is crucial for success on the ParaPro assessment test. The test consists of multiple-choice questions, and managing your time efficiently will ensure you can answer all questions within the time limit. Time management tips. 1. Know the test structure. The test contains 90 questions and lasts 90 minutes, so aim to spend about 1 minute per question. If you come across a difficult question, don't spend too much time on it. Skip it and come back to it later if necessary. 2. Pacing yourself. During the test, keep track of time. If you have time left at the end, review the questions you skipped or marked for review. Tip: use the first 5 minutes to skim through the questions to identify any that seem easier or more familiar. This will help you prioritize them. 3. Answering questions. Read each question carefully, but don't linger too long on each one. If you're unsure of an answer, make an educated guess and move on. There's no penalty for guessing, so it's better to answer all questions. 4. Breaks and focus. Take brief mental breaks during the exam if needed. Close your eyes for a few seconds to refocus. Stay calm and don't let stress affect your pacing. Example strategy. 1. First 10 minutes. Skim through the entire test to identify easy questions. 2. Next 60 minutes. Answer the questions you are confident in. Spend approximately 1 minute on each. 3. Last 20 minutes. Go back to the more difficult questions and review your answers. Practice exercises. Let's put some of these study tips into practice with exercises designed to reinforce key concepts. Exercise 1. Time management practice. Set a timer for 90 minutes. Practice taking a 90-question practice test and aim to complete it within the given time. Keep track of how much time you spend on each question. Exercise 2. Active study method. Create a set of 10 flashcards for a topic you find difficult. Each flashcard should have a question on one side and the answer on the other. Use these flashcards for self-quizzing throughout the week. Exercise 3. Study schedule. Write your own study schedule for the next 7 days. Allocate time for each subject area and include short breaks to keep yourself refreshed. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we discussed how to prepare for the ParaPro assessment test using effective study techniques and time management strategies. We covered how to create a study schedule, implement active study methods, and manage time during the exam. With these tools, you'll be well prepared to tackle the test with confidence and maximize your score. Unlock your full potential with these powerful test-taking strategies designed for success. The ParaPro assessment test is a comprehensive exam that assesses the knowledge and skills required to work as a paraprofessional in an educational setting. While mastering the content is essential, effective test-taking strategies are just as important for ensuring that you can perform well under exam conditions. This lesson will focus on test-taking strategies to help you approach multiple-choice questions, eliminate incorrect answers, and manage your time effectively during the test. These strategies will help you maximize your performance and improve your confidence. How to approach multiple-choice questions. Multiple-choice questions are the most common question format on the ParaPro assessment test. Approaching them strategically is key to performing well. Here are the steps you can follow to handle MCQs with confidence. Step 1. Read the question carefully. Understand what the question is asking. Before looking at the answer choices, make sure you understand the specific information or skill being tested. Underline key terms. This will help you focus on important parts of the question and avoid getting distracted. Step 2. Look for clues in the question context. Clues. Sometimes the question itself can provide hints or context to help you identify the right answer. Focus on the wording. Pay attention to words like always, never, most likely, or except, as they can change the meaning of the question or answer choices. Step 3. Analyze all the answer choices. Avoid rushing. Read all of the answer choices before selecting one. Sometimes, the first choice may seem correct, but a better option may appear later. Eliminate obviously wrong answers. Often, one or two choices will be clearly incorrect. Eliminating these helps improve your chances of choosing the correct answer. Step 4. Make your choice. After analyzing the question and answer choices, select the answer that best fits the question. If you are unsure, make an educated guess, but don't dwell too long on one question. Eliminating incorrect answers. One of the most effective strategies in answering multiple-choice questions is eliminating incorrect answers. This increases your chances of choosing the correct one, especially when you are unsure. How to eliminate incorrect answers. 1. Look for obvious errors. Some answer choices will be completely incorrect due to factual errors, irrelevant information, or extreme wording, like always, never. 2. Cross out extreme options. Often, extreme options like never or always are less likely to be correct, as most questions involve more nuanced answers. 3. Use logic to eliminate. Sometimes, even without knowing the exact answer, you can eliminate options based on logic or knowledge of the topic. For instance, if the question is about educational principles, you might know that one option doesn't fit within general educational practices. 4. Check for consistency. If one answer choice is consistently aligned with what you've learned in your study materials, it's more likely to be correct. Example question. What is the best method for helping students with different learning styles? A. Provide the same instruction to all students. B. Use visual aids for all students. C. Tailor instruction to meet individual needs. D. Only use auditory materials for auditory learners. Here are the options to eliminate. A. Provide the same instruction to all students is incorrect because different students have different learning styles. B. Use visual aids for all students is partially correct but too limited for all learning styles. D. Only use auditory materials for auditory learners is overly restrictive. The best answer is C. Tailor instruction to meet individual needs. Managing time effectively during the test. Time management is crucial during the ParaPro assessment test, as you only have 90 minutes to answer 90 questions. Efficiently managing your time ensures that you can complete the test and have time to review your answers. Time management tips. 1. Know the time limit. You have 90 minutes for the test, meaning you should aim to spend about 1 minute per question. Pro tip. If you spend too much time on one question, move on and return to it later if you have time. The goal is to answer as many questions correctly as possible within the time limit. 2. Pacing yourself. First 10 minutes. Skim through the test to get an idea of the types of questions. Identify easier questions you can answer quickly. Next 60 minutes. Work through the questions, focusing on accuracy rather than speed. Avoid spending too much time on difficult questions. If you are unsure, mark them and come back later. Last 10-15 minutes. Review your answers, focusing on questions you skipped or marked for review. Double-check your calculations and reasoning. Here's the time breakdown example. Pro tip: use the first few minutes to answer the easiest questions first. This builds confidence and saves time for more difficult ones. Additional test-taking tips. 1. Stay calm and focused. Stress can hinder your ability to think clearly. Practice deep breathing, stay calm, and focus on the task at hand. 2. Skip and return. If you come across a difficult question, skip it and return to it after answering the easier ones. This ensures you don't waste too much time on one question. 3. Read carefully. Make sure you understand the question before selecting an answer. Sometimes, questions include subtle clues that can change the answer entirely. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've covered essential test-taking strategies for the ParaPro assessment test. You've learned how to approach multiple-choice questions, eliminate incorrect answers, and manage your time effectively during the test. By applying these strategies, you'll be well equipped to approach the test with confidence and maximize your score. Dive into our final review, key concepts to remember to reinforce crucial information and ensure you're prepared for your assessment. As you approach the ParaPro assessment test, it's important to review the key concepts from each module and ensure you're fully prepared for the exam. This final review will recap the essential points covered throughout the course, highlight common test traps to avoid, and offer valuable tips for approaching the test with confidence. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a clear understanding of what to remember and what to focus on before exam day. Key points from all modules. Let's quickly review the most important concepts covered in each module of the course. This recap will help you identify areas to focus on as you continue your preparation. Module 1. Introduction to the ParaPro Assessment Test. The ParaPro Assessment Test measures the knowledge and skills necessary to support classroom instruction and assist students in various educational settings. The test is commonly used for paraprofessionals in U.S. public schools. Test format. The test consists of 90 multiple-choice questions, divided into 3 content areas: language arts, reading and writing, mathematics, and general knowledge. Key strategies. Familiarize yourself with the test structure and timing. 90 minutes for 90 questions. Understand the types of questions you'll encounter in each section. Module 2. Mastering Language Arts, Reading and Writing. Reading Comprehension. Focus on understanding the main idea, themes, and supporting details in passages. Practice identifying key information, making inferences, and using context clues to determine the meanings of unfamiliar words. Writing skills. Know the rules of grammar, sentence structure, and punctuation. Practice summarizing information and identifying errors in writing. Test-taking tip. Pay close attention to reading passages. Answer questions based on the content of the passage, not external knowledge. Module 3. Mastering Mathematics. Basic Arithmetic. Review addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Ensure you can perform calculations quickly and accurately. Fractions, decimals, and percentages. Be able to convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages. Understand how to solve problems involving these concepts. Ratios and proportions. Practice solving problems that involve ratios, proportions, and percentages. Use cross-multiplication to solve proportions. Test-taking tip. For word problems, break the problem into smaller steps and apply the appropriate formulas or methods for solving it. Module 4. General Knowledge and Test-Taking Strategies. General knowledge. Review educational principles, classroom management techniques, and student engagement strategies. Understand the role of paraprofessionals in supporting students, especially those with special needs. Test-taking strategies. Practice eliminating incorrect answers, especially in multiple-choice questions. Manage your time wisely during the test by allocating approximately 1 minute per question. Time management. During the test, pace yourself to ensure you have enough time to answer all questions. Use the first 5 minutes to quickly scan through the test and tackle easier questions first. Common test traps and how to avoid them. While preparing for the ParaPro assessment test, it's essential to be aware of common test traps and pitfalls. Here are some of the most common issues that test takers face, along with strategies to avoid them. Trap 1. Overthinking questions. You might second-guess your answers, which leads to confusion and wasted time. How to avoid. Trust your first instinct, especially on questions you know well. If you're unsure, eliminate obviously incorrect options and make an educated guess. Trap 2. Skipping over easy questions. You might rush through easy questions and miss them, wasting time on harder questions. How to avoid. Answer the easy questions first. If you don't know the answer to a difficult one, move on and return to it later. Trap 3. Misunderstanding the question. The wording of the question can sometimes confuse you, leading to the wrong answer. How to avoid. Read each question carefully. Pay attention to words like except, most likely, or always, which can change the meaning of the question. Trap 4. Running out of time. You may spend too much time on one question and miss the opportunity to answer others. How to avoid. Use a timer and practice pacing yourself during study sessions. If you're unsure about a question, mark it and move on to the next one. Trap 5. Not reviewing your answers. You may make careless mistakes because you didn't double-check your answers. How to avoid. Use the last 10-15 minutes of the test to review your answers. Focus on questions you skipped or flagged for review. Exam day preparation. Final tips. As you approach exam day, here are some final tips to ensure you're fully prepared and ready to succeed on the ParaPro assessment test. Prepare ahead of time. Get a good night's sleep before the test. Eat a healthy meal to ensure you have energy and focus. Gather any materials you need, ID, confirmation letter, etc., the night before. Arrive early. Arrive at the test location at least 30 minutes before the scheduled start time. This allows you to settle in and reduce any test day anxiety. Stay calm during the test. Breathe deeply if you feel anxious during the test. Focus on one question at a time. Don't rush but stay aware of the time. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've reviewed the key concepts from all the modules in the course, highlighted common test traps, and discussed final preparation tips for the ParaPro assessment test. By implementing these strategies, you'll be better prepared to approach the test confidently and avoid common pitfalls. Good luck with your studies, and remember that practice and preparation are the keys to success. Unlock powerful techniques to make the most of your final hours of preparation with these essential last-minute study strategies. As the ParaPro assessment test approaches, it's important to have a clear and focused plan for the final 24 hours of preparation. This lesson will provide you with strategies for last-minute review and relaxation techniques to manage test anxiety. By implementing these strategies, you will maximize your readiness, reduce stress, and approach the exam with confidence. What to review the day before the test. The day before the test should be reserved for reviewing key concepts and doing light preparation. This is not the time to try to learn new material, but rather to reinforce what you've already studied. Key areas to focus on. 1. Review key concepts. Go over the main areas that you have studied during the course. Language arts. Focus on reading comprehension strategies, grammar rules, and writing tips. Mathematics. Review key math operations such as fractions, decimals, percentages, and basic algebra. General knowledge. Refresh your knowledge of educational principles, classroom management strategies, and student engagement techniques. 2. Focus on weak areas. Identify any sections where you feel less confident. This is the time to focus on those areas and reinforce your understanding. Use practice questions from those topics to test yourself and gauge your readiness. 3. Practice with sample questions. Take a few practice questions or mock tests to simulate the exam environment. This helps reinforce knowledge and builds test-taking stamina. Review your answers carefully to understand your mistakes and solidify the correct approach. How to use practice questions. Choose 10 to 20 practice questions from each section, reading, math, and general knowledge, and answer them as if you were taking the actual test. Focus on accuracy, not speed. Spend time reviewing each answer and understanding why the correct answer is right. Tip for the day before. Avoid cramming. This can increase anxiety and reduce retention. Focus instead on strategic review and consolidating what you already know. Relaxation techniques for test anxiety. Test anxiety is common, but it can be managed with the right techniques. Staying calm and focused during the exam will help you perform at your best. Relaxation techniques. 1. Deep breathing. Sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a deep breath in through your nose, counting to 4. Hold your breath for 4 counts, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for 4 counts. Repeat this for 5 minutes. Why it helps. Deep breathing helps activate your body's relaxation response, reducing physical symptoms of anxiety such as a racing heart or shallow breathing. 2. Visualization. Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking into the test center, sitting down, and confidently answering each question. Visualize yourself remaining calm, focused, and finishing the test with time to spare. Why it helps. Visualization builds confidence and reduces nervousness by creating a mental image of success. 3. Progressive muscle relaxation. Starting with your toes, tense each muscle group for 5 seconds, then relax it for 10 seconds. Move up your body, from your legs to your shoulders and neck, finishing with your face. Why it helps. PMR reduces muscle tension and helps to release stress in the body, allowing you to feel more relaxed and centered. Test-taking mindset. Positive affirmations. Remind yourself that you have prepared well for this test. Tell yourself, I am ready. I have studied, and I can handle this. Stay present. Focus on the question at hand, rather than worrying about what might come next. Staying in the moment will help keep anxiety at bay. Mental preparation. The night before the test, spend some time relaxing. Avoid last-minute studying that might stress you out. Focus on winding down, such as by listening to calming music, reading, or engaging in a relaxing activity. Exam day tips for confidence and focus. The day of the test is all about staying calm, confident, and focused. Here are some tips to ensure you're fully prepared and mentally ready for the exam. Before the test, get plenty of sleep. Ensure that you get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep the night before the exam. A well-rested mind performs better. Eat a healthy meal. Eat a balanced breakfast that includes protein, whole grains, and fruit to fuel your brain. Arrive early. Arrive at the test location early to give yourself plenty of time to get settled. This will also reduce pre-test anxiety. Here are the tips during the test. Manage your time. Remember, you have 90 minutes for 90 questions. Aim to spend around 1 minute per question. If you don't know the answer to a question, skip it and move on. Come back to it if you have time at the end. Take deep breaths. If you start to feel anxious, use the deep breathing technique to calm your mind and refocus. Don't rush. Stay calm and read each question carefully. Don't rush to answer quickly, as this can lead to mistakes. Here are the tips after the test. Celebrate your effort. No matter the outcome, celebrate your hard work. You've invested time and effort into preparing for this test, and that effort is valuable. Reflect. Take a few moments to reflect on what went well and what you might improve for future tests. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we covered last-minute study strategies to help you prepare for the ParaPro assessment test. You've learned what to focus on the day before the test, how to manage test anxiety with relaxation techniques, and how to approach exam day with confidence and focus. By following these tips and practicing the strategies, you will be well prepared to take the test with ease. Step into your exam with confidence as we prepare you for every aspect of exam day. What to expect. The ParaPro assessment test is an important step in becoming a qualified paraprofessional in an educational setting. Understanding what to expect on exam day can help reduce anxiety and ensure that you are fully prepared. This lesson will guide you through the necessary preparations, including what to bring to the testing center, the check-in process, and step-by-step instructions for test day. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a clear understanding of how to navigate the exam day smoothly and confidently. What to bring to the testing center. On exam day, it is essential to arrive prepared with all the necessary materials to ensure a smooth check-in process. Make sure to gather the following items before the test. Here are the essential documents. 1. Valid photo ID. Bring a government-issued photo ID, such as a driver's license or passport, to verify your identity. 2. ParaPro confirmation letter. If required, bring a printed confirmation letter or email that includes your test appointment details. Check the testing center's instructions for this. 3. Test authorization. Some testing centers may require you to bring proof of test authorization or registration. Be sure to check any additional documentation required. Other optional but helpful items. Personal items. While personal items, such as cell phones or bags, are typically not allowed in the testing area, consider bringing a small, clear bag with essential items, such as a jacket or sweater if the room is cold, a bottle of water, if allowed, to stay hydrated, any necessary medical items, such as medication or a hearing aid, that you may need during the test. Here are the things what not to bring. 1. Electronic devices. Most testing centers prohibit the use of electronic devices, including cell phones, smartwatches, or calculators, unless specified. 2. Study materials. Do not bring any notes, textbooks, or study guides into the testing area. 3. Food or drinks. Unless permitted by the testing center, food and drinks are generally not allowed in the testing room. Be sure to check with the center regarding specific rules. Instructions for test day. The day of the exam is a critical time to ensure you follow the test day procedures carefully. Here's what you can expect when you arrive at the testing center. Arrive early. Aim to arrive at least 30 minutes before your scheduled test time. This gives you time to check in, settle in, and mentally prepare for the test. Tip: arriving early will help reduce stress and give you time to ask any last-minute questions about the testing process. Check-in process. ID verification. Upon arrival, you will be asked to provide your valid photo ID for verification. Test authorization confirmation. You may be required to show your ParaPro confirmation letter or email. Personal items. You will be asked to store personal items, such as bags, cell phones, or coats, in a designated area. Ensure you only bring the necessary items for the exam. Test environment. The testing area is usually quiet, with individual workstations and a computer for each test taker. Test proctor instructions. A test proctor will provide you with instructions on the test procedure, including the timing, breaks, and how to navigate the test system. Test format. The ParaPro assessment test is a computer-based test with 90 multiple-choice questions. You will have 90 minutes to complete the test. Math, reading, writing. Expect questions based on the content areas you've studied in the course, such as reading comprehension, basic math skills, and general knowledge about educational practices. During the test, test timer. A timer will be visible on your screen. Keep an eye on the clock to pace yourself, but don't rush. Remember, you have 1 minute per question. Pause and resume. If you need a break, you can pause the test, if allowed, or ask the proctor for assistance. However, the test timer will continue running. End of the test. Once you finish the test, submit your answers, and the computer will provide your results. If applicable, review your answers to ensure they are complete. Don't worry if you didn't answer every question perfectly. You've prepared well, and that's what matters. Test day tips for success. Here are some final tips to help you feel confident and perform at your best on exam day. 1. Be calm and confident. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that you've put in the work. Stay confident in the knowledge you've gained. Positive affirmations. Repeat positive affirmations such as, I am ready, I have studied, and I can succeed. 2. Stay focused. Concentrate on one question at a time. If you find yourself stuck, move on to the next question and come back to the difficult ones later. 3. Pace yourself. Don't spend too much time on any one question. Aim to complete the test in the allotted 90 minutes. If you get stuck, mark the question and return to it later if you have time. 4. Stay hydrated and take care of yourself. Drink plenty of water before you arrive at the testing center and bring a bottle of water if permitted. Hydration helps you stay focused and energized during the exam. Here's the exam day checklist. Before you leave for the test, make sure you have everything you need. Conclusion and recap. In this lesson, we've reviewed everything you need to know about test day for the ParaPro assessment test. You now know what to bring, what to expect during check-in, and how to stay calm and focused throughout the test. By following these steps and tips, you'll be well prepared to tackle the exam with confidence.